What's going on, Silly Geese? Grab your popcorn and let's talk about the Mandela Effect. You know, the conspiracy where we jumped into a new universe and the only way we remember is the Berenstain Bears. Why do I bring that up, you might ask? Because apparently we all collectively hallucinated Sinbad starring in Shazam, and instead we got Kazaam, who's a rapping genie with an attitude ready for slam dunk fun. Kazaam is a 1996 family fun movie where Max, a lonely kid who gets bullied a lot, accidentally lets go of a genie from a boombox, and that genie is Shaquille O'Neal. The movie opens on an old warehouse that's being destroyed, but not too destroyed because later they go inside and it's perfectly fine. And inside that building is a magic lamp that Genie Shaq's been sleeping in for decades until the building collapses, wakes him up, and he has to move into a boombox. And then we cut to Matt, who's getting immediately bullied by some kids over $1.70, including Pedro from Napoleon Dynamite, who calls him a loser. These kids escalate things in a totally normal way. You know, your average bullying gimmick of spray painting a green outline around your victim's body. Max gets them to leave by giving them a key that he says is absolutely stockpiled with
Rolexes, gold chains, who knows what.
He go home to meet his mom, who's mad at him for not looking like a younger version of himself.
Max, honey, try and look like this guy.
And we meet Travis, who's pretty much engaged to his mom, despite the fact that she is still married to another man.
You and your mom can move on with your lives. That's why we want to get engaged.
And it's here where we find out that Max's dad left when Max was 2 years old. So Max has really never known him. It's been about 10 years since he's had any contact with his father. And I'm sure he's fairly okay with his mom wanting to explore out, find a new love. And
what about me?
All right, yeah, he's not okay. So Max goes outside to get away from his parents and runs back into the bullies, who actually don't have any bad intentions. You see, they
don't want to talk to you.
Max doesn't want to talk, so he runs away from the bullies, and they threaten to take the key and do this.
There's only one place. This thing's gonna fit.
But thankfully, the bullies have no idea how to get through a gate with a clear open hole in it. So while they're all trying to figure that out, Max runs into the building that we saw in the beginning, falls down 4 stories, and hides in the trash. He's hiding in the trash. Max accidentally activates the boombox, and the bullies find him, but not before Shaq can come out and start rapping at
Dare to wake me. Ain't gonna make this a mystery.
And also just roasting a bunch of kids.
Who's that sorry wannabe?
He goes through and explains the basics. You know, I'm a genie, and I've got 3 wishes, and this and that.
I am Kazaam!
And he is just so insistent on Max using his wishes. He is literally begging.
Make a wish, please.
So Max finally makes his first wish, and he wishes for...
Give me a car. Black Jaguar XK.
Yeah, you know, one of the few things in life he can't use right now. Good wish, buddy. But the genie has some performance issues and can't complete Max's wish, so the bullies just take him. And they kind of leave it up to our imagination what happens. But he does only come back with a little bruise. Back at home, Max hates on Travis a little more.
Just leave me alone!
You know, we gotta make sure that we hit that stereotypical movie hate my stepdad type. And then he finds a note his mom left him on top of the divorce papers that she's apparently supposed to be hiding from him because they have his real dad's name on them. So the next day, Max goes out to go find his dad, and this is where Genie Shaq finally catches up to him and kind of starts to hide at first.
I'll make your dreams come true. What you want, I will.
Smiles at him like this. Again, tries to beg him to make wishes, including for ice cream, which he holds like this.
Don't you wish you had one of these?
So Max was looking for his dad, and he does actually find him at one point, and we find out that Max's dad is a music producer who also does like the burning of CDs. Do you remember when you turn on the movies in the late 90s and the early 2000s? You wouldn't steal a car. You wouldn't commit a felony. So why do you think it's okay to burn a CD that you got for $12.99? So yeah, that's what his dad does. Max decides to not tell his dad that he's his son yet and goes back to his house, but actually he doesn't go back to his house. He goes to like this abandoned secret hideout that we're just gonna call the Max Cave. And in the Max Cave, he has pretty much anything you could want, and Shaq starts grilling him again and really try to get this kid to use his wishes.
Leave me alone.
Is that a wish?
They have a bike race that ends up turning into Shaq flying away. And then Shaq speaks in a foreign language. And I watched this movie on Disney Plus. And whenever I watched this movie on Disney Plus, I had subtitles on. And that's important because every time Shaq or another character speaks in a foreign language, it just says foreign in the subtitle. Max finally makes his first wish, which is junk food, and the messiest foods of all time fall from the sky. At first, only like 10 or 15 foods fall, and Max gets mad that the magic genie only made 10 foods fall from the sky.
That's it?
Like, is this amateur hour? But eventually it does start raining a ton of food, and this is a point of the movie where they really tried to make it a point of like, hey, if you didn't know, Shaquille O'Neal's a big guy. I mean, look at how tiny this umbrella looks in his big old arms. After the junk food thunderstorm, Max actually makes a pretty decent wish, asking for his mom and dad to get back together, which Shaq takes super well.
Kazaam don't do ethereal.
Yeah, man, your mom and dad don't love each other. Sounds like you're a... Max makes a comment that you should never say to anybody.
I own you.
I mean, do I need to bring out the cancel tag from last video? The next day, Max gets the courage to go tell his dad that, hey, Dad, I'm your son. So they go back to the music studio. And it's here the Shaq subplot starts to take off of him being a DJ/rapper until this dude comes up and tries to intimidate 7-foot-tall Shaquille O'Neal.
You want to play?
Max finally tells his dad that he's his son, and it actually goes pretty well.
Hey everybody, quiet down, check this out. This is my boy, Maxwell Mateo.
So his dad gives him full access passes to their adult club for later tonight and sends him back home to his mom. And I didn't realize it in time, but Max has been gone for 2 full days, and his mom made no effort to find him. We don't have time for that, because Shaquille O'Neal's now turning into a rap star. And back at home, Max tells his mom that he found his real dad, and that he has some big aspirations for life.
Maybe I'll even be a personal assistant. I'll show them all.
At the party that night, Shaq, for some reason, gets pulled on stage, has his boombox that's like his genie lamp. He just carries that everywhere with him, and it shoots out these, like, diamonds. One hits the guy who I only know as Ranjit from How I Met Your Mother. Hello! Shaq lands a couple more killer bars.
If you girls are hungry, let's green egg and ham it.
Oh, to seductively wipe sweat from Shaquille O'Neal's face. Imagine the casting call for that. 1997 kids role must be ages 25 to 35 and be able to reach up to 7 feet tall to wipe sweat off of a grown man's forehead. I'm in. Max goes to meet his dad, and plot twist, his dad sucks.
Are you looking for trouble?
What's he doing here? You gave him the passes. Max leaves, and here's the part of the movie that makes no sense to me. He goes outside and he runs into the bully. You know, the ones who lured him into an alley earlier in the movie. And he decides to let them know he's been in there and that he can get there anytime he wants. So I guess he's trying to be friends with his own bullies now.
I'm gonna go wherever I want. I'm not pulled.
After his one performance, Shaq's now famous, signing autographs outside, when Ranjit calls him into the car and gives him these.
My favorite.
And then Shaq gets seduced in a kid's movie. Max and the kids that torment him are now trying to work together to get this tape that apparently is worth $1 million because, you know, the crime implication. There's this big cat and mouse part where eventually they get their hands on the tape and they slide under the door in this dramatic will they, won't they make it scenario. And then immediately the guys that were chasing them just walk out the door that was right beside that big garage. They somehow get away and Max goes back home, goes to sleep, and wakes up in the worst way possible. He calls Shaq a pervert. So Shaq responds with a nice King Kong impression. Shaq recaps the night, takes a shower in Max's room, and then walks out of Max's bedroom to introduce himself to Max's mom as his tutor. Shaq uses some magic to get Max to eat his breakfast. Talks about some old wishes that he's granted.
The destruction of Pompeii.
It was a wish? That was you?
Wait, Pompeii was a wish? Yes, I'd like to bury an entire civilization in volcanic ash. And then we find out that Shaq has to perform tonight at the club, and they start doing some rap practice together, which culminates in a full rap battle.
So listen to the man, cause I'm the Sultan of Sand.
Is that it? Is that the whole deal? You want to be a hit? You better get rich.
Shaq starts to kind of confide in Max that he can't make himself free, and he's not degen. Back at school, the bullies now tell Max that he has to use the tape as ransom against his own father for $1 million. But don't worry, this random kid we've never seen has Max's back.
You alright?
Max, obviously not wanting to blackmail his own dad, runs from the bullies and starts calling out for Kazaam. I'm also just realizing this is the first time I've called him Kazaam. I've called him Shaq the whole movie. And I'm not going back to fix that. Shaq doesn't care that Max is about to be beat to a pulp because he's too busy getting his game on.
Harvard? I'm way too intelligent for Harvard.
So Max keeps calling and... jumps through the water? How is this part of the genie stick at all? This wasn't a wish. This wasn't something that Shaq was doing with him. Is Max a genie here now? Max wishes for a copy of the master tape, so he can kind of play both sides. And Shaq doesn't want to give it to him, even though earlier in the movie he was.
Make a wish, please.
Until Max takes this route.
Now grant my second wish, I order you!
And then he teleports Max back to school in a like post-Doc Brown DeLorean kind of way.
I can stand the man.
How I Met Your Mother's Ron G. Hello! He has the most interesting meal ever while getting details on Shaq. And Max's dad shows up at school and kidnaps Max because he knows he stole the tape. Max asks his dad to change, and his dad makes a pretty solid point.
You know how many cops would love to lock me up?
Because you know, pirating crime is such a big deal, and... So Max gives his dad the tape and leaves. But it turns out that's irrelevant now because Ron G from How I Met Your Mother has footage of Shaq doing magic. And his whole plan becomes to now get Max, to make Max do a wish. So Shaq goes back into the boombox and then he can rub the boombox to get 3 wishes from Shaq. Yeah, great plan. But who has time for that? Because it's Shaq showtime.
I am Kazaam.
After the show, Max runs up to Shaq to try to get him to wish for his dad to have a second life, but Shaq again says,
No can do, kid.
Ron G from How I Met Your Mother. Hello! Kisses Shaq to distract him so he can take the boombox. And he gets Max and Max's dad in the same room and tells Max if he doesn't make his wish, then his dad will.
He'll wake up dead.
Does that make sense? Nick fights back, and Ron G from How I Met Your Mother gets bitten by Max, and then they run away while Shaq raps about his life.
In the box like a premature burial.
While trying to run away, they bump into Ron G from How I Met Your Mother, who laughs like this, and then he kills Max. This, of course, does summon Kazaam, who he tells
You have a new master.
Shaq tries to stop him, but for some reason his body is like fading away, and they don't explain why. But he wills himself back because he's Shaquille O'Neal, and he beats the crap out of the whole gang. Butt grab, butt grab, butt grab. He definitely just killed that guy. Anji from How I Met Your Mother. Hello. Tries to threaten Shaq with the boombox, but he just destroys it because apparently he could do that the whole time. And then he turns him into a ball, and I wonder how he feels about that. Max, who we've forgotten about by this point, has fallen to the bottom of a shaft, and he's gotta be dead, right? Shaq finds him and carries him out in a very emotional scene. Until you remember that he only fell because Shaq was too busy rapping about his life. And now Max is alive and gets kissed by Shaq a bunch.
You're alive!
And then he explodes into a giant face. And he's degen now, which he's like at peace, I guess. But we come back to reality, and it turns out that Max's stepdad is a firefighter, and he's the one who went into this fire to save Max. Max's real dad also made it out, but there's cops looking for him, because you know
how many cops would love to lock me up?
His dad asks for one more moment before he goes off to prison and makes some odd plans.
Get a couple rods and go fishing.
And Max decides that he wants to go home and asks his mom and stepdad if
Coming or what?
But his stepdad is supposed to be responding to the fire. And he leaves. He goes with him. He randomly decides to wish for some hot chocolate, and it shows up, and Shaq is alive. Shaq makes this comment.
You're getting a job.
A job?
Which makes me think that this whole movie has been an origin story to Shaquille O'Neal. I think in his head, he thinks that this is what happened to make him become a basketball player. Yeah, I was a genie. I was in Egypt for a while. Then I got all the djinn. I accidentally killed this kid and I accidentally brought him back to life. And now I play for the Lakers. The movie thankfully ends in what is the most painful watch that this silly goose has had to sit through. I mean, truly sitting through this, I felt like a loser. And that is thankfully a wrap on Shaq. I mean Kazaam. But if you like this video, be sure to subscribe and join the Silly Geese gaggle because I'm making videos like this every single week. Or as always, check out one of these videos that YouTube recommends for you. But until next time, stay silly geese.